Hi and welcome to another episode of Why You Should Watch This.
And today we're going to be talking about Terminator Genisys.
So yeah, Terminator Genisys, here we go.
Terminator Genisys, yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger comes back again to play the T-800. This time he's called Guardian. It's like a really cool movie because it's actually all to do with time travel, and I like that kind of element.
It's the first movie where he's not credited as actual T-800 in it. He's actually just credited as Guardian, which is crazy.
Yeah, and there's a lot of really cool bits in the where, like, you know, he says a lot of quotes from the last, you know, from Terminator 2, Terminator 1 and all this, and you know, all his one-liners like "get out" and
yeah, it's like purposely throwing it into your face to make sure you cop it's the exact same T-800 as the previous
it
movies.
opens up with the Terminator music, you know, which is just the best bit, like
iconic. When we talk about iconic movies, like growing up, Terminator was one of those. Like the second movie more so for me. The first movie I always thought was an alright movie, but I love Judgment Day.
Judgment Day is the best in my opinion of all the Terminator movies right now. Christian Bale's movie with Terminator Salvation didn't really do too great, and neither did Rise of the Machines. But I think the first and second one was the best ones, and I think Terminator 2, Judgment Day, one of James Cameron's masterpieces.
Oh, it's just amazing, and like how do you you can't blame James Cameron for selling the rights to Terminator, because how do you top Judgment Day? But like they say that James Cameron, it's 2017, even though I read in line it's 2019, I think it's 2017. James Cameron gets the rights back to Terminator.
Yeah. So this new movie, he could be the very first in a new trilogy of Terminator movies. So James Cameron could be back on board for doing the directing in the second movie.
Yeah, he did come out and say this film was a good sequel to his. Even though it's 5 movies, this is actually the sequel to Judgment Day, the proper sequel. And James Cameron said that this is the direction he probably would have took the film.
Yeah.
Although I think they could have went in a different direction, but it was still a decent plot line. It just could have been executed a bit better.
Exactly, I think James Cameron considers this an actual trilogy. It is the third. He believes it's like more of a third movie to the first and second ones that he did. He didn't really consider Rise of the Machines and Salvation really, you know,
continuation to his stories.
And his stories.
No.
He would recommend that watch this one if you've seen 1 and 2. You don't really need to see the third and the fourth one, really. You know.
The film really didn't do as good as it could have at the box office. The film was made on a 155 million budget, but I think since I checked it's only made 350 million or something back off that now, which is only double what it cost, which is not great nowadays in the box office.
It's very low in comparison to the likes of Jurassic World.
Oh yeah, those films, Jurassic World has become one of the top earners ever. It's over $1 billion. Not many movies do that. But like Terminator, I'd say they would have scrapped the idea of doing a sequel to this had it not have been for it being reopened in China just last weekend. It reopened and it's after taking in a huge opening in China. I think it was 27 million for an opening, which is pretty big. Like,
yeah, they love Arnie over there.
Oh, they love Arnie. He actually went over and did a whole another premiere over there, and I'd say he's tired of doing them at this stage. You can't fault Arnie, and Arnie just comes back and it just feels like you're watching the same. He's visibly aged a little bit, but he's still that T-800 that you love, and he's got the humour where he's coming across a bit as a human being in it more now in this. Like there's a scene where it shows him smiling. Sarah Connor says something to him and he turns around and smiles, and that's actually a scene from Terminator Judgment Day that was cut where John Connor was supposed to get him to smile.
Trying to get him to smile and recommend that you practice in the mirror.
Yeah, so there's loads of it's all crooked and stuff. There's loads of knockbacks to the Judgment Day, you know, which is one thing I really liked.
It's actually it's almost like they skewed off to a different tangent, a different timeline to what the third and fourth movies. It's almost like it's cancelling out the third and fourth movies,
which is clever.
Which is actually cool because it's like, well, they never happened.
Yeah.
And Arnie could be back for the next movie, but then there's a rumour going around that it could be his son that'll be reprising the role as the Terminator. So it could be something to do with a younger Terminator T-800 in the next few movies. Well, that's a rumour that it could be he could be in the next one, but then there's a rumour as well that this might be his last one. So Emilia Clarke comes into this for the very first time. She plays Sarah Connor, and we all know her from Game of Thrones, and she really didn't sell it that much for me. I thought she was good, she was flat, but she was good in some parts, but overall...
No, I didn't dislike her character of Sarah Connor, but when you think about it, she could have been a bit better when you see what she brings to Daenerys in Game of Thrones. She brings so much character, but in this, it's like she was scared of the job she had to do after Linda Hamilton playing Sarah Connor. Like, it's like, how do I do a younger version of her? And she almost maybe put too much thought into it.
Yeah, she could have. So Jason Clarke is in this movie. We've seen him in Planet of the Apes, and he plays John Connor. He's pretty good in this role. You know, he studied a lot. Apparently, he read some Shakespeare. You know, because he had to make a speech in this movie. You know, it's like a bit of an epic speech at the start of the movie.
And just like Arnie, he's good in the film. It's just the script he was working off only had so much, so he did his part pretty well.
Yeah.
And then Joy Courtney's in it, and Joy Courtney plays Kyle Reese, and Joy Courtney is one of those actors that I don't dislike him, but he only has one kind of angle to him in movies. Like, I seen him in Jack Reacher, and in Jack Reacher, I liked him in Jack Reacher, but it's just it's the same character. The only thing that changes about him is his facial hair is longer in some movies than in others. He's longer hair or something, but I'm going to go ahead and be a hypocrite now. In this, he brought a little bit of humour to Kyle Reese, which I actually thought was okay. Like, he was not a bad Kyle Reese.
Yeah, because he was like taking the mick out of the Terminator, or taking the mick out of Arnold Schwarzenegger's Guardian character, which is, you know, like, it's a bit of crack, you know, because Arnold Schwarzenegger was brilliant in this because he had a bit of comic relief. He was laughing, you know, he was making jokes about himself and things like that. And it was cool one-liners a lot of the time.
And then J.K. Simmons is in it. He only plays a minor role, and he plays like a cop when they're in one scene in the police station. They don't, like, an actor like J.K. Simmons, who's coming off Whiplash of last year, and they use J.K. Simmons. They get him in the movie, and they don't use him. Nearly enough.
No, he was only in a couple of scenes. He sort of played like a character that was, you know, they knew him when he was younger, but he was a different person, and they see him years later. And then Byung-Hun Lee plays the T-1000.
Plays the new T-1000.
He goes back in time, and he sort of has a little bit of a look of Robert Patrick.
But when you see even the CGI they use on the T-1000, like, it hasn't really got any better in the last 23 years since Terminator came out. Terminator Judgment Day. I actually even prefer Judgment Day CGI over the CGI in this movie. You can kind of tell they overuse some CGI in this. But he's a good T-1000, and same thing that happened with J.K. Simmons. You don't see enough of him.
Arnie worked out for 6 months, 3 hours a day, up until he started doing the role for this movie, because he basically wanted to get back into the shape that he was in for Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines. So he's the exact same body measurements and weight. So, like, if you look at a comparison between him then and now, you know, like, it's unbelievable for being 12 years ago. You know, so, look, he looks amazing for being 12 years old.
As soon as he started getting back into his acting, got his shape back. And that Terminator physique would not be easy to do.
Exactly. And if anybody follow him on Snapchat or Instagram or anything like that, you'll notice, like, he does a lot of videos and he's always working it.
This is the first movie in all of the Terminator movies where Stan Winston's animatronics weren't used. They were not used, like, because Stan Winston died in 2008 and he was a close friend of Arnold Schwarzenegger. But I'd say, so out of homage to him, they still used, there's a new studio that's open from his former staff, and it's called Legacy Effects, and they used that company.
We all know Stan Winston from doing animatronics for the likes of Jurassic Park. Predator as well.
There's so many movies. The man is a legend. He was involved in Star Wars, everything.
Star Wars as well.
He's involved in ILM, George Lucas, the whole lot. What would you give?
I think, myself personally, because it doesn't really come close to Terminator 2, I'd give it a 7. I'd actually give it a 7, which is actually close to what IMDb gave it, a 6.9 out of 10.
I'd give it a 6.5 out of 10, 6.5. Do we think you should watch Terminator Genisys?
We definitely think you should watch Terminator Genisys.
Definitely, it's not a waste of time. It's a decent movie. You won't come out of it going, you know what, that was a complete waste, because it's not. It's a good film. So,
and a lot of you might think as well, do we need to watch the other movies? You don't really need to. If you want to just enjoy a good kind of sci-fi movie, go ahead and watch this movie. Alright, so
thanks for watching.
That's our video. Thanks very much for watching. Take it easy. Bye.